It is Thursday, the 9th of March, 2023. Got to get some stuff done outside today because apparently we have some nasty, controlled weather bearing down on us late tomorrow night. And I am sick of this weather. Now, some of you may not know this about your most humble, fluid, and incredibly flexible messenger and retired watchman, but over the many years, I have walked upon our Father's flat earth. I have been charged with felonies, never convicted, misdemeanors and infractions. Oh yeah, I lost a few of those, I guess. And over the years, I have spent so many hours in court, I have adopted the nickname Dave Defendant. So I was thinking the other day, when I was outside getting stuff done in the shittiest of controlled weather, just once I'd like to be on the other side. Prosecution rather than defense. Prosecuting child abusers, rapists, animal abusers, long list here, people. But the chance of that ever happening are slim to none, and Slim just rode out of town. But then the light came on. Hey, this is my channel, my podcast, my rules, and I can prosecute here any ones that I want. And today's target? Christians. And it doesn't matter if they're all 501c3 or not. Doesn't matter if they're Catholic, Protestant, or evangelical. All fair game today. The charge? Being pagan blasphemers of our Father, the Creator. So let the case begin, and here is just some of my evidence. And by the way, people, please don't ever accuse me of being a Christian. That would be so rude. Well, here we go. Now we got to talk about some important names. Krishna, widely revered and most popular of all deities of the country of India. From the many Egyptian deities, Isis is a major goddess whose husband Osiris was killed by his brother Set, and whose son is Horus, the savior avenger god. Might want to check with Dan the Mason Man, but Freemasonry's Hiram Abiff and Horus are synonyms. They're one and the same. Boy, those Masons love their pagan deities. And Albert Pike, the author of the Masonic Bible called Morals and Dogma, freely declared Masonry as a religion, and their god is Lucifer. Sounds eerily familiar to Murray saying Lucifer's his god too. It's amazing, people. What did the good Rabbi Weiss say back in 1867? Masonry is Judaism. When did Pike publish Morals and Dogma? Right around the Civil War, late 1800s. Yep, pretty nifty how these guys are all tied together. Now note also the Eye of Horus above the pyramid on the back of the Masonic dollar bill of credit. Now I'll hazard a guess that Dan the Mason Man would correct me and claim, it's not the Eye of Horus, it's the Eye of Providence, the all-seeing Eye of God. But which God, Dan the Mason Man? Oh yeah, the Eye of Masonry God. The Eye of Masonry's God. What's wrong with my mouth today? Lucifer. Now, back to the rest of the story. Originally from Greece, Egypt's first European pharaoh, Ptolemy, 332 BC, sought to unite the Greek and Egyptian subjects. He created Serapis, whose nickname was Christus. Serapis, or Christus, fused the Greek and Egyptian king of the gods, Zeus, with Amun, and with Osiris, Egyptian god of the underworld. Now here's a killer quote for y'all. Quote, they are there Christians, talking about in Egypt, who worship Serapis, and who call themselves bishops of Christ. And that's just from the Work Hebrew and Christian Records, volume number 2, London, 1877. Oh, back in that same late 1800s era again. How convenient. Now, what was Serapis' nickname? It was Christus, remember? Bishops of Christus. Now, many Christians today will teach you that Jesus is the name. It most certainly is not. And Christ is a title, not a last name. They claim it should be stated Jesus the Christ, meaning Jesus the Anointed One, the Savior, the Messiah. But they are lying, and even I, once upon a time, fell for this bullshit. The Hebrew scriptures don't bear this out, so we have to go to the Greek. And keep in mind, neither language had a letter J. English didn't even get a letter J until the 15th century, long after both Old and New Testaments were written. How long? About 13 years later, for you Bonapeters. So let's go to the Greek. And using the letter I, no J's, Iusis, Latin, no J in that language either, is adapted from the Greek, from the name of a Greek healing goddess, Ieso. A number of authorities, whatever that means, believe Jesus actually means Hail Zeus, Iousis, I-E-S-U-S. For Iousis in Greek is Hail Zeus. I-E translates as hail, and S-O-U-S or S-U-S, Zeus, is Zeus, the Greek king of the god, Mount Olympia's top man, the big cheese. Now the abbreviated form of the name Iousis is capital I-H-S. Don't let me lose you here, people. I don't mean to. I think the case can easily be made that when we say Jesus, we are actually praising Zeus. Now, getting back to the abbreviation IHS, the banner of the, believe it or not, one behind every tree, Jesuits. The Jesuits of the Holy, my ass, Catholic Church. Catholic meaning universal. When asked, hey, Jesuit dude, what does IHS stand for? You will be told, why, in his service, of course. Well, whose service, Jesuit dude? Well, obviously God's service, or so they would have us believe. But in Latin, IHS is Iusis Hominum Salvator, or Isis, Horus, and Set. Now fast forward with me, climb into this time machine, people, and we're going to go back to 325 AD, 1700 years ago for you bottom feeders, when the Roman Emperor Constantine convened the Council of Nicaea, today known as Iznik, Turkey. And what was the purpose or motivation of this pagan Roman emperor to convene this council? Well, it was to create an entirely new god for his vast empire, who would unite all religious factions under one deity. 53 different gods were discussed, but boiled down to the short list of just 5: Caesar, Krishna, Mithra, Horus, and Zeus. Emperor Constantine demanded, I guess emperors can demand whatever the hell they want and usually get it, the name of the great druid god Jesus, H-E-S-U-S, be added to appease his British subjects. Definitely was a vast and expansive empire. And that Jesus be joined with the Eastern savior god Krishna. Krishna is Sanskrit for, drumroll people, Christ. The end result? Jesus Krishna. So where am I going? Well, from what I've covered so far, Serapis Christus became Jesus Krishna, which became Iusis Christos, which became Jesus Christ, when the letter J was introduced into the English language. And as Paul Harvey once said, and now you know the rest of the story. Now, due to the interest of time in keeping this podcast short, I omitted much more evidence I could have introduced to prosecute Christians as pagan blasphemers to our Father, the Creator. I think I made my case. I think the prosecution rests. Besides, I got stuff to do.